Hello and welcome to A Slice of Life. Today my guest is a wildlife biologist for the state of Connecticut. His name is Peter Picone. Peter, welcome to A Slice of Life.
Hi, Jim.
I've so looked forward to this interview. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about how you came to work for the Connecticut DEEP.
Yeah. So I'm a born and raised Connecticut resident. I'm a UConn grad. I graduated from the College of Natural Resources, and then I worked 5 years for the Connecticut Ag Experiment Station following there, and I did a lot of wildlife damage management research. I was assisted Dr. Robert Swihart at the time at the Experiment Station. So 5 years there, and then in 1990, I went to work for DEEP as a wildlife biologist, and I've been there since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very good. I just went on a tour of one of the farms that the experiment station has.
Right.
And it's set up like a laboratory.
Right.
All these fields, and the scientists come to the field and look around and do whatever they do.
Yeah, it's a great facility. Yeah. But
Yep.
DEP, I manage state lands west of the Connecticut River,
Okay.
and for the first 13 years, I did urban wildlife management, which was more backyard habitat and
Right.
and technical advising municipalities and landowners. And then I got added on all the state lands, which there's about 40,000 acres, and half are on the east and half are on the west side of the state.
Right.
And I manage the western side, wildlife management.
When you were doing the urban part, did you find landowners gave you a little pushback, or were they welcoming you?
No, so we have 3 million residents in Connecticut,
Right.
and 70% of the land is privately owned, 70%.
Right.
So it could be a postage stamp lot that people own, or it could be, hundreds of acres, or
Right.
so anything in between. And so my target was to try to educate the public about wildlife, the needs of wildlife, food, water, shelter, cover space.
Yeah. That's so very important. Now I'm gonna introduce your song that you created about the Bombus terricola. What's the common name for that?
So it's a yellow-banded bumblebee, yellow-banded bumblebee.
Right.
So the story behind that, Jim, is managing these habitats on state lands.
Right.
We'll take an abandoned cornfield and plant it, and then manage the invasives, plant native plants, restore the
Right.
native plants. And one project that I did at Robin Swamp in 2021, I asked the entomologist, Tracy Zerillo at the experiment station, if she would monitor the pollinators from the first year through, currently she's still monitoring.
Right.
So, and the reason I asked her was I'd like to see what a blank, abandoned cornfield, how, what's there now, and then
Right.
when the plant's established, we planted over 20 varieties of native grasses and wildflowers.
Yep.
And I asked her if she would monitor the pollinators.
Right.
And she did that. She's been doing that since 2021. So I'm a wildlife biologist, and birds, mammals, amphibians, reptiles, insects are also in my, they're wildlife, but pollinators, there's hundreds of them, and they're challenging to identify. So I thought it would be nice to have a professional entomologist look at the fields. So she did. So then she excitedly reported to me finding this bumblebee.
Right.
And Bombus terricola.
Right.
So as soon as she said that name, I don't know what it was about Bombus terricola.
It clicked for you.
So I looked up it's a Latin, and Bombus means buzzing, so bumblebees buzz to get
Yep.
the pollen. And then terricola, terra means earth,
Yep.
cola is dweller, so earth dweller.
Oh yes.
So the bumblebees, they make their nests underground, and it's a fascinating world. So it added to my excitement about habitat.
Right.
But that name, there's just something about that name. So that's when I started writing the lyrics for
yeah.
it. And I wanted to it was a natural thing for me to the name Bombus terricola had a ring to it.
Yeah.
So she then found in Bombus terricola at another field that I was doing, that I was managing and creating in Goshen WMA. So my projects are like, some are 5 acres, but some are 30, 40 acres in size.
Wow.
So they're big properties.
That's a big office, Peter.
Well, it's all outdoors, and it's rewarding to restore the habitat.
I'm sure.
You have now this bumblebee is just a little representation of the biodiversity, a very uncommon bee, but yet if we don't have the habitat, they're not going to be there.
Right.
So Bombus terricola is it's got a neat buzz, and there's no pun intended.
It is a great name.
It's got a neat, and people when they hear that, they remember it.
Right.
And it's all about providing the right environments.
Let's take a moment and share this video with our audience.
Yeah.
Let's show the video, Emily. Love the music.
Wildflowers bloom. Lives a creature oh so rare, bringing life to the room. A bumblebee so vibrant, with colors that gleam. Bombus terricola, your nature's sweetest dream. Dancing through the meadows, beneath the big blue sky, collecting nectar from the blooms. Oh, how you fly from blueberry bushes to the asters so bright. In the golden sunlight, you're a marvelous sight. Bombus terricola, you're a treasure to behold. In the fields and the valleys, your story's being told. With your yellow band shining, you're a symbol of worth. Pollinating nature, bringing life to the earth. Through pie weeds and wild bergamot, you glide with such grace. In a thriving native meadows, you found the perfect place. Created by biologists, ecosystems thrive. Thanks to you, dear bumblebee, our wildflowers come alive. Oh, the whispering breezes sing songs of your dance. In a world of wonders, aren't you just a chance? With every pollen grain, a unity grows strong. In the tapestry of nature, you indeed belong. Let the meadows flourish, let the colors ignite. With you buzzing round, everything feels just right. In the symphony of nature, you play your part well, bringing sweetness and beauty like a magical spell. Bombus terricola, you're a treasure to behold. In the fields and the valleys, your stories being told. With your yellow band shining, you're a symbol of words, pollinating nature, bringing life to the earth. So let the meadows flourish, let the colors ignite. With you buzzing around, everything feels just right. In the symphony of nature, you play your part well, bringing sweetness and beauty like a magical spell. Bombus terricola, you're a treasure to behold. In the fields and the valleys, your stories being told.
Okay, welcome back. That was a song video about Bombus terricola, a bumblebee native to Connecticut. Is it common?
It's not too common. That's one of the things about creating the habitat. So they're like Rhode Island hasn't had many. They're disappearing throughout the region,
Right.
but they're holding their own, and these native habitats are very critical to maintaining their populations. But the things that they have going against them is monoculture habitat, just grass and no wildflowers, and
The wonderful
fact
lawn.
that they nest underground in the leaves.
Yeah.
And that's not the only bumblebee. There's others that are, and there's a concern about them. But the good news is you create the habitat and these critters show up.
Right.
And 4 weeks ago, I got another email from Tracy, and she found a solitary bee that had not been recorded since 1918 at Robin Swamp in my field.
Right.
And so the scientific name isn't as song-worthy. It's Macropus petulata.
Oh, I agree with you there.
It's an oil bee. It's an oil bee that was nectaring on a mountain mint that was one of the seeds, one of the plants in my field. And they found it. It had not been recorded in Connecticut since 1918.
What is an oil bee?
So this solitary bee is very uncommon, regionally uncommon.
Yep.
It collects nectar from a yellow flower, Lysimachia ciliata. It's a yellow. It's in the primrose family.
Oh.
And they're found in edges of swamps and swampy areas. And when it collects the nectar and the pollen, it actually collects an oil from it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the oil that comes out of the plant, they feed their larvae with.
Right.
So I'm not an expert on this. I'm not an entomologist.
No.
But it's you have to appreciate the biodiversity that's out there.
Oh.
And the fact that she found this oil bee made the big time entomological news.
Before you go for the day, I'd like to get her name. She
Sure,
sounds fascinating.
Tracy Zorillo. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many I got to tell you, a lot of bumblebees look similar. Look like this. I never knew there was anything more than one bumblebee.
Yeah. Well, Tracy's the person she identifies them, all the differing characteristics.
Right.
They're not easy to tell all apart. When you see a bumblebee fly by, you pretty much know a bumblebee because it's furry,
Right. Very
furry,
distinct.
call them little flying teddy bears, and they collect pollen because they buzz and they get it all over their, and then they also have. But I don't want to go too far. Plants are the foundation
Yes.
for these critters. Critters show up to feed. We're creating a smorgasbord. You know, we have a tapestry of different habitats and
Right.
and these animals are finding it. My job is to recreate and enhance natural environments.
Right.
And it's so amazingly, it makes you feel really good when you create the habitat and then you get feedback
You
like
get the
this.
results.
The results,
Right.
But I enjoy seeing turkey poults going into these fields.
Right,
And they're
right.
picking off the grasshoppers and the other bugs.
Right,
We
right.
got leopard frogs that are in this field.
Yep.
Beautiful leopard frogs that,
Yeah.
as a kid, I never saw any. But we had a lot of green frogs and bullfrogs.
Right, right.
These leopard frogs are found in these fields at Robin Swamp. Once we took the corn, the abandoned cornfield out, now you'll find dozens. Like you'll walk through there and they'll be hopping
hopping
around,
away.
and they're feeding on the bugs.
Excellent.
And American woodcock, they migrate, they'll nest there.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing array. Kestrels will feed on mice there. There's a whole food chain, a whole food web
the
that.
way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Well, I want to share something with you
Yeah.
about bumblebees.
Yes.
In my Master Gardener class this winter spring, we had an entomologist show up, and she was talking about bumblebees, and she shared this one thing where a bumblebee, this one particular, I forget the name, this one particular bumblebee will climb up a flower and pierce where the nectar is, not go inside, but pierce it from the outside, and I guess drain the flower, and then move on to the next one. And I had never,
Right.
I'd seen bumblebees on this bush before. I never really paid attention, but after she told me that,
It's amazing.
I did in fact see this bumblebee doing that, and I thought, wow, that was really cool.
You learn, and
Yeah.
it's every day, literally every day.
Yeah.
I learn something.
Right, right.
Literally, and if you go into the insect world, you could spend your whole lifetime. People
Yeah.
spend their lifetime on one genus. Researchers will
Oh.
spend their whole lifetime studying one genus.
There's a lot to learn.
And what's really neat is with binoculars, with our, the habitat is what I'm creating,
Right.
and then the creatures show up.
Now let's talk about your cornfield. So
Yeah.
you started with an abandoned cornfield, which
14 acre.
I
field.
guess could be, how many?
14 acres.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess you could consider that a clean slate.
Yeah, it was for over 25 years. It was corn. Yeah.
Wow. And now, did you let the normal progression happen, or did
So-
you facilitate that?
So Jim, there's 3 ways you could create habitat.
Right.
Okay, one you could create from scratch, where you bring it to bare ground.
Yep.
And the cornfield was kind of like that. There were a few resistant weeds that were there, but we knocked those out. And we used a Truax planter, which is a no-till planter.
Oh.
We own it's called a Truax planter. The Wild Turkey Federation, there's a chapter in Connecticut.
Yep.
And their hunting organization, they actually bought the Truax planter and donated it to us
Oh, wow.
for planting because they know that it benefits turkeys.
Yes.
Because turkeys like fields and
Right.
they need to get the protein for their young. And of course, turkeys use a variety of habitats, not just fields. But we use this Truax planter. The funding, I wanted to also say this Northwest Sportsman's Club paid for the seed. Okay, so I got the seed mix that that I wanted, and it's in the publication that I gave you.
Right.
And then this planter has 3 hoppers. One for the small seed, the little seed. The middle one is for fluffy seed, which is a lot of the native grasses like little blue stem, big
Yep.
blue stem, and are really fluffy.
Yep.
Those go in the middle hopper. There's a different agitator.
Yeah.
And then the back hopper is for the cover crop. We use a cover crop called the winter oats, which it's just basically a one annual. It holds the ground.
Right.
You know the seed's in there.
Yeah.
The seed's going to germinate below it, but the cover crop is going to hold the soil from
Right.
wind and soil erosion. It's good for 1 year. And
Yeah.
it doesn't. It fades out after a season. So we planted this 12 acres, and then we also created an ecotone. There's an ecotone. An ecotone is the transition between the forest and the field.
Right.
In that transition, it's about a tree length out, and that we allow woody vegetation like thicket, shrubs,
Yeah.
blueberries, gray dogwoods, blackberry,
Right.
spirea, all the woody shrubs.
The woody stuff.
So that there's like a stadium effect. And we manage that zone differently.
Yeah.
So if you look at my, the plot plan that in my publication, you'll see there's an ecotone. And now people's backyards on a micro scale is the same thing. If you had a forest meet up with your lawn,
Yep.
that's an ecotone. And if you could soften that edge, plant shrubbery there,
Yeah.
it transition into a lawn area that provides thicket. So you get nesting, you get hiding from predators.
Yeah.
Birds, songbirds really use that. Tree frogs use it.
Yep.
Amphibians, reptile.
Right.
But anyway, and then there's other pollinators that, like this Bombus terricola will buzz pollinate a blueberry
Yeah.
bush. Because that's how the bumblebees operate. And then, of course, there's berries that are produced in that ecotone, and then we'll get into some of that.
Okay.
The seasonal opportunities.
Yeah, you have some excellent video we're going to show after the
Yeah.
break.
I love taking snidbits, little outtakes, like proving to the public this works. Like,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
here, look at wildlife. Look at what they need. I've been fortunate to, over time, I've collected many little videos, of my own.
Yes.
To then try to use them to help educate. Because really, at the end of the day, Jim, it's all about we humans control the environment.
Right.
When I say control, we determine what happens, and we could steer it in a much better fashion.
Yes.
Literally one plant at a time.
Yep.
And it's like supercharging. It doesn't matter how big that spot is. If you plant something that's native, it literally supercharges.
Well, here's a demonstration
Yeah.
of a potted plant,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is a great blue lobelia syphilitica,
Yeah.
and I had a garden plan this year, but things
Yeah.
got in the way, and
Yeah.
this plant may be a little pot bound,
It's
but
beautiful. It's beautiful.
these are flowers.
Yeah.
Hummingbirds will come to
Yeah.
these.
Hummingbirds, bumblebees will go in there.
Bumblebees, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a beautiful plant.
I did. I think on the Pollinator Pathway show, I did, and I featured some photography of hummingbirds and stuff. And I said to the audience, I said, hummingbirds are always hungry. So if you plant these plants, they will show up in your yard.
Yes.
And I guess the same is true for most pollinators.
Yes.
Looking for pollinants.
Now, Jim, that same plant. Yes, 2 days ago I was at Robin Swamp Wildlife Management Area. I took a photo in
Yeah.
the field, the 14-acre field.
Yeah.
There's many of those growing, and those were planted by seed.
Yeah.
And they're taller because they have to compete with other vegetation.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful. They're just
Beautiful,
Again,
pretty
again,
plant.
and that same plant in your backyard can have a similar function.
Yes.
Attracting the animals.
I have them in my quiet corner,
Awesome.
I call it.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the seed thing that you had, the
Yes.
seeding machine.
Yes.
Now, the seeds for this and cardinal flower
Yes.
are really small.
Yes, and those go in the little. So there's the front hopper has where we put the small seed.
Yeah.
And it's you can calibrate the drop.
Oh my God, they're so
And
tiny.
So there's now so this is one method that I've used to plant.
Yep.
Where we use this Truex planter. And what it does is it'll distribute the seed over the entire property.
Wow.
And then over time, see what happens, it's crawl, walk, and run, okay? crawl, walk, and run. I'm using that an example. The field at the beginning looks like nothing's happening.
Right.
It's like when humans, you're crawling, right?
Yeah.
And then the 2 years go by, and then you start seeing the blossoming.
Yep.
And then the third year, wow.
Yeah.
Then fourth, fifth, sixth, and then the plants will move to where they want to be.
Right.
They start. There's little micro habitats in a field. The bigger the field, you got little lower spots and drier, and they'll move to where they want to. Where they
to the best condition.
Yes, and that's what's really beautiful about. You can see that evolution happen.
Okay, so we're going to take a 2-minute break.
Yeah.
The break will consist of flowers that I took in my backyard.
Great.
They're all native. They're all blooming in August. We're filming this in August of 2025. So we call it the floral montage. So we're going to take a 2-minute break and look at the floral montage.
Nice.
Okay, that was our floral montage. Thank you for watching. We're with our guest tonight, Peter Picone. He's a wildlife biologist, and we're about to get some videos that he has taken out in the field as part of his job. Peter, could you talk us through some of the videos that we're going to see now? I think the first one is well, I don't know. I think the first one is robin eating red chokeberry bush. Can we go into the video there, Emily? Excellent. There we go.
Yeah, so I'm out in the field. I come back from the field. This is our education room, our looking out our bird observation area in our Sessions Woods Wildlife Management Area, our conservation education building. And that is Aronia arbustifolia, which is this red chokeberry.
Right.
The berries. Now, flock of robins came in.
Yep.
And there's about 7 or 8 in the flock, and they just went to town on these red chokeberries. in our environment, there are what we call persistent food sources. They persist through the winter,
Right.
and fall and winter, and then even into the spring, they'll still persist. And red chokeberry is one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you plant that, the bottleneck of winter when there's not a lot of foods, that's an example of a winter persistent berry.
Now, I think most people think robins migrate down south and for the winter.
Okay.
Apparently, he
yeah.
was
Yeah.
he was hanging around.
So our robin's our state bird. It's in the thrush family.
Yep.
The robins from Maine could come down south, and they'll go up and down the coast, and sometimes hang out in the swampy areas to eat these berries.
Yep.
So you'll depending on the winter, how harsh it is,
Yeah.
they'll hang around. They'll hang up and down the coast and hang in there.
Oh,
So
they move
don't-
around.
They don't all head way south.
Right.
So and the bluebirds, same thing. They're in the thrush family. They'll do the same thing. They'll go up and down. Now the other thrushes, like the wood thrush and the hermit thrush, they bail out and they go into the more tropical areas.
Right.
But the robins are more adapted, and they'll utilize those food sources.
Right.
And depending on how harsh the winter is, they'll continue moving south.
When we were living in Newington, I had a really big winterberry bush in my backyard. And the berries would persist till about January.
Yep.
And then the robins would come,
Yep.
and in about 20 minutes, they cleaned the bush free of berries.
Yeah.
They just ate all of them.
Yeah. The winterberry, the deciduous winterberry that you're talking about, Ilex verticillata, is really an easy plant to grow.
Yeah.
The female produces the berries. The more native, they're a little bit smaller. Native ones are a little more smaller. Like
Yep.
the cultivars can get bigger and they're not as palatable, but either way, the female of the winterberry is really valuable. I know I shared with you a video I took of a robin chipping.
Well, that's our next video.
Yeah.
Let's look at that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, this video is really special because it shows the hardship.
Yeah.
Birds.
Look at the layer of that ice.
Yeah, look at the ice. It's chipping its way through.
Yeah.
Now, this is a robin, but turkeys do the same thing. Turkeys
Yeah.
live here year round,
Right.
They have to chip through like that.
Yeah.
Any of the local, and then what will happen in the spring, this was in January, but there could be a spring where the migratory birds come back, and then you get a frost. You get a ice storm, and this is reality,
Yeah.
And so having these food sources, diversity of food sources of winter food. So this is the second winter food we showed. The red chokeberries one.
Yep.
The winterberries another persistent food.
Now, is this robin eating the berry, digesting, and then spreading the seed for
Yes. Yeah.
propagation in the spring?
Well, yeah. So after they eat and it goes through their digestive system,
Yeah.
they will then that seed will become viable
Yeah.
wherever they drop it.
Now, I wonder if it has to be digested to increase the level of germination.
So some plants need that and some don't.
Right.
There is a coevolution that happens. The plant is trying to reproduce, so it's introducing the fleshy part of it.
Right.
And then the hard seed exits, and it's the key. The plant is using it as a transport. Right now, that seed could end up
Anywhere.
Yeah, a mile away.
Yeah.
Right.
Anywhere.
Yeah. So nature has its ways.
Yes. And
it's amazing.
Without bird feeders, the birds in the forest, it's got to be tough out there.
It's tough, but that is an example of how you can make a little difference, right?
Yeah.
The same shrub that we're showing here, I know I gave you the video of the bluebird feeding on the same exact spot in the fall. Now you'll have a bluebird feeding on the same plant in the fall.
Oh, wow.
And it's the same angle shot, same video, same spot. And this is outside my office window, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So habitat starts right outside our, the building, and that plant was planted in the middle '90s. I planted
Oh,
that
wow.
winterberry. Yeah.
So let's go to the next video. I think.
Oh, you want?
Oh, this is the cedar
serviceberry.
waxwing.
Cedar waxwings. Yeah, we can talk about that one. This one is cool because serviceberry or shadbush, Amelanchier canadensis,
Yep.
it's the first viable berry that's available for
Yeah.
birds to feed
Yeah.
on, and it's the flowers when the shad migrate. So it's a beautiful plant for historical reasons and aesthetic and ecological.
Yeah, I actually have one in my yard as well.
Yeah, that's the cedar waxwing is feeding its young, and it's also called Juneberry because it ripens in June.
Right. I have to say, unfortunately, I don't get cedar waxwings when I'm looking at the bush. I typically get catbirds and robins.
Yeah.
Which isn't
beautiful.
bad, but I would like to see a cedar waxwing just as
never
as a bird watcher myself.
Yeah,
So.
you might.
Yeah. So
You don't have the one about the bluebird. The bluebird.
I'm not sure.
We had one with the bluebird feeding on the winterberry.
Yeah.
But that's
I don't think I forwarded that to Emily. I'm not
okay.
sure.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so now the next video is what we call the turkey dance. I want the audience to see if they can figure out what these turkeys are doing, and then of course we'll tell you. Let's show the turkey dance video.
Yeah. So this is I'm watching these turkeys. I took a video.
Right.
And I was like, are they chasing insects, bugs? Are they
Yeah. What
flying
are they
ants? Or
doing?
what are they doing? And after I took the video, I actually analyzed it and I sent it to a few people.
Yeah.
And it took a while before we figured it out.
Yeah.
And, they're stripping the seeds from the little blue stem.
Oh.
There's little tiny seeds. So if you watch, they're literally with their
It
heads.
kind of looks like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they're stripping this real fluffy seed, but it is interesting how they'll use any foods that they can find.
Yeah.
That's an example.
Yeah.
Little blue stem is very important for habitat. Like little blue stem are clumpers,
Yep.
and clumping grasses allow other things to grow between it.
Yeah.
So the magic for habitat management, if people want to get really into it, think about the clumping grasses. The clumping grasses don't overwhelm a site. They stay where you plant them.
Right.
And then they allow other wildflowers and other plants to fill in. Versus a lawn is rhizomatous. The fescues, the Kentucky bluegrass, it's rhizomatous. It won't let other plants grow in between.
Right.
Other than dandelion, because it shoots a big taproot.
Yeah, they're very good at
But so when you're creating a habitat, think about adding some of these bunch grasses.
Right.
Like little blue stem, big blue stem. Little blue stem stays 2 feet. Big blue stem gets taller. There's Indian grass. There's deer tongue grass. There's a variety of these native bunch grasses. And there's also some sedges you could do that are clumpers.
Now, where would the average person get seed or a plant of little blue stem or big blue stem?
Okay. So big scale projects, the state in my work, we deal with Ernst Seed Company out of Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
Ernst, just for the quantity.
Yeah.
But we also collect our own seed from
Right.
our state properties.
Right.
And we did a million seed plant at Suffield.
Yep.
And we with 90% of our own seed.
Yeah.
But we collected it from our properties. But there are nurseries now that are carrying native seeds. If you Google it, there are more locally available seed, small companies that are selling seed.
I actually did a quick search this morning, and there are native plant nurseries in New Haven, Madison, Clinton, Woodbury, East Haddam.
Yep.
So there doesn't seem to be any shortage
It's getting
of
better
being
and
able
better.
to access that.
It's getting better and better.
Yeah.
Our availability list, and that I know I shared with you the perennial list
Yep.
that UConn and I we collaborated on on a availability list from
Right.
nurseries, and that list is more about plants, not seeds, but that is all nurseries that carry native,
Oh, right here.
native trees, shrubs.
Connecticut 2025 Native Tree, Shrub, and Perennial Availability List.
Yeah.
And this is on the Connecticut DEEP website.
Yep, and UConn website too.
And
Yep.
UConn.
Yeah, UConn website.
Oh, very
We
good.
collaborated. I originally in the 90s, I used to mail survey
Yeah.
nurseries, and UConn, Vicky and Alyssa at UConn, they digitized it, and now it's all done electronically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Now, is it necessary to just have native plants, or can you have native plant cultivars?
So when we're creating native habitats, we don't use the cultivars.
Right.
You know, we'll use straight natives when we're
Yep.
creating, and they tend to have the best connection with wildlife.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been selected for specific. A lot of times, what happens in the nursery industry, they select for color or shape or size. In nature, there's variability, right? So. There's 2,800 plants in Connecticut, or about,
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
rounded down. There's 1,800 native, rounded down.
Yep.
And then there's the 1,000, to make it 2,800, there's 1,000 non-natives, okay?
Right.
102 are invasive. So as long as you don't plant the 102 invasives and you stick to the non-invasive types,
Right.
you know, you're doing okay. But the closer you can get native, the better it is for wildlife because of the coevolution.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, but there are some folks that will be straight. They don't tolerate cultivars because but there are some cultivars that they're not invasive and they are a specific genotype of that plant. And I think if you plant a few of those, it's not going to be a bad thing. But planting more native is better.
Now, I read one time where the issue with cultivars is that the actual shape of the bloom is a little different from the shape of the native bloom,
Yes.
and the pollinator may or may not have difficulty actually pollinating that plant.
And that's why you want to stick to this close to native as you can.
Right.
For if you want biological diversity, and it's like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
You ever have a piece of puzzle that it looks like it's going to match?
Yeah.
You try to push it in there,
Doesn't go.
doesn't fit. That's really the same thing.
Right, right.
In nature, we as humans tend to want to reproduce color or certain shapes that we like.
Yeah.
We don't realize that, in nature
me.
there's a lot of diversity.
Well, I think you're right in that there's a lot of diversity. If you get into the native plants and you get a list like you had here,
Yes.
there are literally maybe 50 or 60 different kinds of native plants you can put into your butterfly garden.
By far, the availability of native plants is so diverse today
Yeah.
compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
It has really gotten better, and there's so many videos now online that you can go to, and that availability list is really good too. There's many resources within that. Larval foods.
Yep.
What butterflies feed on what plants.
What animal helps
Yep.
by you putting this in.
Right.
Very, very important. Now, the average person, let's talk first about the average person who owns a yard and then maybe a deck on a condo somewhere.
Yes.
Let's talk about the yard.
Okay. So there's 3 million acres in Connecticut.
Right.
No matter how much, if you have soil in your yard,
Yeah.
soil took 10,000 years to create.
Correct.
Okay, if you look
Yeah.
at geologic time. Sometimes areas where topsoil was put back on the land, but regardless of that, if you take whatever space you're able to dedicate to wildlife and you plant native plants there. You start with, you could put, a native grass, any of the wildflowers, something that blooms in the spring,
Yep.
midsummer,
Yeah.
late summer,
Yeah.
fall. You plant those in your yard. You will start seeing the diversity happen.
Right.
And you could, and it's an art and a science. Art and science. Art means that you may want to have a certain composition. Like you have this much space. You want to have the taller plants in the back, the smaller plants in the front. You could control that. But really, you just start with a list of, start with 5 or 6 plants.
Right.
And start growing them, and start putting them in your yard and observing the diversity that happens.
Yeah.
The no-brainer one, Jim, that I think we all should do, the no-brainer one, like if we all did this, we could help this one, the monarch butterfly. Like,
Right.
if everybody tomorrow said, I want to help the monarch butterfly, I'm going to put orange butterfly weed, Asclepias tuberosa, in my
Right.
yard, dry site. I'm going to plant common milkweed. We would reverse the trend of that animal. Like, literally, we could do it. And that's just like one butterfly.
Yeah.
One creature. And then there's a lot of other things that use that plant too, not just the butterfly, not just the monarch. There's other pollinators.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and then like say you plant a patch of goldenrod for the fall, right?
Right.
There's clumpers and there's spreaders.
Right.
Goldenrod. So you could plant the clumpers so they don't spread.
Right.
And a monarch might fly by, and while it's coming from Maine, it's going to go all the way down the shore to get to Mexico. It might stop there and nectar on your goldenrod.
Right.
During the season. So that's the backyard. You got a lot of opportunities. If you have more than say 100 square feet, even 10 square feet is okay.
Right.
But the backyard balcony, you can still make a difference there. You could plant, like, look at this lobelia. Imagine
One
planting,
little plant.
Yeah, imagine
One little plant for your patio.
For hummingbirds especially.
Yes.
There's that Lonicera sempervirens that you showed in your montage.
Yeah.
The trumpet honeysuckle.
Yep.
That's a native honeysuckle.
Yep.
It's Lonicera sempervirens. It's the only honeysuckle vine that we have in Connecticut. That is an amazing magnet for the hummingbirds.
Yeah.
And you could put that on a little trellis on a back deck, and it's resilient.
And they come.
Yeah, and
They show up.
and then there's so many other plants. It's really your enthusiasm and your really how much enthusiasm you want to put into it.
Well, that's one
know?
of the reasons, the diversity,
Yes.
that I decided to revamp my butterfly garden, because I looked at it, and I have purple coneflower and evening primrose. And I thought, and then I read an article about the monarch, and during the fall migration they need goldenrod and they need aster.
Right.
So when I'm done with this renovation, it will have those extra plants,
Nice.
so that they will stop and help them on their way.
Yes. So euchinacea, just so you know, the purple coneflower is native to the prairie.
Yep.
So it's native
Oh.
North America. It's not technically for Connecticut, but it's not invasive. It's considered okay for.
Yeah.
But just so you know that it's like we don't include it in our mixes for our fields.
Oh, is that right?
Only because it's not technically.
The prairie.
But there's the other coneflowers. There's other rudbeckias that you could plant. And there's rudbeckias that you could plant that are also substitutes for that.
Right.
And brown-eyed Susans, and you can find other ones. And I encourage people to go look at nurseries that have a variety of native plants and walk around and see what you like.
Right.
And what you might want for your yard.
Well, as a bird watcher, what I like about the coneflower and the evening primrose
Yes.
is that in the middle of winter,
Yes.
you will get titmice and finches
Yes.
coming to your garden
Yes.
to eat those seeds
Yes.
that were created over the winter,
Yeah.
that were created over the summer.
Primrose, evening primrose, amazing.
Oh.
Packets of seed,
Yeah.
and it persists through the spring.
And if you grab the little flower, the dead
Yeah.
flower,
Yeah.
you can look inside and see like 30 or 40 little seeds, and that's
Yeah.
what the titmice eat.
Yes.
So
excellent.
it's, as a bird watcher, it's an added plus.
That's awesome. Yeah. You're really into this, Jim. That's good.
Well, you know, when I first got here to Old Saybrook, I started buying plants from the Connecticut River Coastal Conservation District.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had the one of the directors on several shows ago. And over the years, I've collected a lot of native plants. I have witch hazel,
Nice.
I have serviceberry, and again, in my butterfly garden, I got, of course, I have my milkweed, which kind of takes over a little bit.
Common milkweed. Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, you could take a shovel and disassociate them, and then move them, give them away.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's an advantage to the. So you got to be careful where you put common milkweed.
Right.
But
Well,
you could give away the.
yeah.
You could give away the extras.
Well, that's why part of what I'm doing in revising the butterfly garden is
Nice.
I'm pulling out a certain amount of milkweed,
Yeah.
excuse me, and trying to move in some other plants. So.
Yeah, if you do it in the fall, or I would wait for March.
Yeah.
As soon as it thaws, you get the root. You get the root when it's dormant,
Yep.
and then you could give them away. And
Yeah.
they're really valuable.
Well, what I've found is that this process has taken a lot longer than,
Yeah, well,
than I expected.
takes time. Yeah,
Right.
but the key thing is you're doing. You're
Oh,
creating that
well,
diversity.
We're trying. Oh, and I have some dogwoods. I have a
Nice.
pagoda, and then another kind of dogwood that I got from Save the Shade.
Yeah,
And so
Nice.
I think we're getting there. We're getting where we want to be.
nice.
So let's wrap this up. And what should we leave the audience with? What kind of a message should we leave them with?
Jim, one thing that I've learned in this field of wildlife, habitat enhancement is, you literally can make a difference one plant at a time.
Yeah.
Literally, there's 1,800 opportunities,
Right.
1,800 native plants, from trees to diminutive Pennsylvania sedge,
Right.
and all the wildflowers in between. It's so amazingly diverse, and once you get into it, it is so rewarding.
Yeah.
For me, macro scale, when Bombus terricola was found,
Right.
that's
a big win.
yeah, and things like that, and then that oil bee that was found that wasn't here since 1918. Now those are extreme wins.
Yeah.
But the amazing wins is locally, monarch butterflies.
Yeah.
You could, that's, if there's any species that you could say, hey, I made a difference right there.
Yeah.
And then the bumblebees that are attracted, and the
Yep.
hummingbirds, and it's just a rewarding
Oh, it really
way to
is,
give
yeah.
back to nature. Let nature be part of our
Let
world.
nature do what it.
Enjoy our world. I always say life can be challenging, but nature's always there. Birds are singing,
Yep.
butterflies are flying by, bumblebees are buzzing. We have such a beautiful landscape. Let's make it more, let's enhance
make it happen.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for Homegrown Habitat, A Slice of Life. Our special guest, very special guest, Peter Picone, wildlife biologist for the state of Connecticut. Peter, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on the show and doing what you do to help our little corner of the world.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim, for bringing things like this to the public.
I've been working on this show for a while, and I'm so glad that you came.
Thank you.
All right, so that's it. If you have a chance, buy a couple of plants, native plants, put them in your yard, or do some homework over the winter and put in a native flower garden, put in a butterfly garden. And with that, we will close. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.